Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, Marilyn York joins us, the men's rights attorney. She's here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Retail's impact on Nevada's economy? Enormous. 8,600 businesses, large and small, employing 145,000 workers. And last fiscal year, retail paid tax on nearly $60 billion in sales. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We support retail, we help it grow, and we mean business.
RANNV.org.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Truck drivers are some of the hardest working people you'll meet, delivering over 70% of America's freight and 92% of Nevada's. When there's a natural disaster, they're delivering critical supplies to help those communities recover and rebuild. Every sector of the economy and our nation's military rely on truck drivers. So let's take a moment to say thank you. On the open road or city streets, our truck drivers are rolling to make our economy and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we are always delighted to welcome back to the program Marilyn York. She is the men's rights attorney. Pleasure to have you back on the program.
Thank you, Sam. Nice to be here.
So let's start out with how coronavirus is affecting your practice. The lockdowns, and we'll start out on the serious side here because there's been a lot of concern talking with DA about domestic violence, child abuse, things like that. Are you seeing these things coming through your office?
I am not seeing the child abuse, thank God. I don't know how. I have kids at home, and let me tell you, it's trying on the nerves. I literally just told a judge, either coronavirus kills my kids or I do. You pick. They're going to school. Like, I'm sorry. So I'm not seeing domestic violence either, thank God. Maybe it's our clientele, but I am seeing more divorce and more separation and more acrimony, unfortunately.
Because
who the heck wants to be home with their spouse or anyone? Any roommate will push you off a cliff if you spend too much time with them. It's just too much cooped up time. And then the stress rises. You know, everyone's stressed out about money and life and the virus and exposure, and nobody ever agrees about their kids, and divorce and now is worse than ever. Do my kids go to school? We have to fight about that. I'm like, it's a temporary issue and it changes every day. Have you seen the fires? No one's going to school. But no, we have to litigate it every day. One wants them to go to school, one wants a hybrid, one wants them to do full distance. The one that wants them to do full distance is also having their kids do travel volleyball. So you're like, wait, your kids are doing... It's just ridiculous. And then they leave them home alone all day and expect them to learn with like 4 kids in a house. It's bizarre. And then these poor judges are left to make these decisions as though they know how to fix these problems. You know, it's a disaster.
So if you were queen for the day, who would you point to and say, hey, this is your responsibility to lay down what the rules are, and then everybody can follow them? Because the problem is that nobody has a clue, and everybody has the best intentions, we hope.
No, they don't, but not in my practice.
Well,
not in the divorce world.
No, but I'm talking about, you know.
The government,
yeah,
sure, they're trying.
If you're the mayor, you're the governor,
Yeah.
you're the president,
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see a disaster in our country, but nobody really knows how to fix the problems.
Sure.
And you know, you come from the world of litigation, and doctors, you know, I've said this many times on the program, you know, a doctor is always going to tell you the worst case scenario because they want to prepare you for the worst and then hope it's for the best. Just like your accountant.
Is that why? I think they're a little sadist. I don't know. I don't know. They do give you the worst case. We don't give the worst case. They always ask us, what's my worst case? I'm like, you get shot on the sidewalk in front of court. I don't, worst case, like.
Well, no, but I mean, financially you do.
Sure.
I mean, you know, you if somebody comes into your practice and says, how much is it going to cost me for this divorce? You look at the situation, you glance over it, and you give them a reasonable estimate of what it's going to be.
Yeah, we try. And it shocks them because it's quite expensive. Like,
of course.
How much do you guys want to fight?
All right, so I mean, that's the same situation,
Sure.
I would say, with government and with doctors. The school district, boy, that's another whole story. I mean, that just seems to get crazier day by day.
It's
and as a
insane.
parent, because you have a wide range of kids.
I do. 16 as of yesterday and 13. So yeah, and 3 different schools. So I can't even tell who's texting me. That's the first thing I want to tackle. It just says school's canceled. I'm like, they're in 3 different schools. You have to identify yourself on this text. I sent the wrong one to school. I was like, that school's closed? I thought that was from Reno High. So yeah, I'm not doing so hot.
All right, so in your opinion, and this is just
Yes.
us talking, so it's our opinions,
Yeah, no
worth
cameras.
what you're paying
It's just,
for
we're
it.
just chatting.
You know, at this point in where we are, how do we proceed? I mean, do we keep going down this road of lockdown? Because we're not going to have a solution anytime soon. And the government said in the very beginning, the reason we're locking everything down is to, you know, slow the curve
And
or
we've
flatten
done
the
that.
curve. Well, we did that to the best of our knowledge, but also the medical world, you know, came up with different solutions as time evolved. So where are we with all of this?
I don't know. I mean, that's what people say. Where is it going to end? I'm kind of like, we need to slowly, and by slowly I mean pretty fast, open things up again. I mean, it's just going to have to run its course. Fortunately, the death rate is way down. People don't want to see people die, but I don't think it is what people thought it was, or we managed to do it well enough where so many less people are dying. I don't want anyone to die, but we've saved all these lives, you know, like car accidents are way down, there's no mass shootings, drug overdoses are way down. So we've really got a plethora of extra people that we've kept by locking everyone in. So, I mean, just to not be sarcastic, we have to open. We cannot afford to do what we're doing. We can't. The world can't just print money and fix it all. We've completely shut down the world economy.
Well, look, and there's a great irony. I was talking to a very bright economist yesterday who says that basically all these trillions of dollars that we are borrowing to finance paying everybody not to work, etc., is really not an issue because down the road, the interest at almost zero, it's not a problem. Okay.
We're still not paying the principal back, nor do we have any way to do so.
She says that we probably won't ever pay the principal
Oh,
back.
don't worry, obviously. But what are we creating as a culture? We're teaching people to be lazier. I thought we were doing quite well in that category. Now we've made people stay home more and paid them 3 times what they would earn in the marketplace by working to sit. And these people aren't going back to work. Nobody can hire. If you look at the poor restaurants and that industry in general, they can't even get staff because those people made more on, you know, unemployment. And then it stops and everyone's just homeless. It's a disaster. Nobody tried to create, but we have to stop it before it gets worse, or we're not going to come out of it, is my concern.
So whose responsibility is it to turn that needle?
Well, the people in charge, unfortunately. The governor's making the calls, you know, the local government's making the calls. They have to open things up. They're the ones in charge of closing them down. You know, and we have to look at other societies, like Europe's doing it different than us. Those kids have to go to school in England, I know for sure, or they get fined. The parents have to send them to school, which is interesting. Here, like, we have the opposite issue. And I don't know what their numbers are compared to our numbers. They shut down harder than us, but they've just reopened, and they reopened with abundance. Like, there's no mask mandate, they're just open. So we'll
okay.
have to watch other countries and see, but.
As you talk to your peers, because the trial lawyers always, you know, pop up in these kind of situations, or, you know, they're the evil people, which of course they're not. They're part of, you know.
We're puppets, we're puppets.
But, you know, is there concern that by opening up too quickly, we're going to open ourselves up to all kinds of lawsuits, or is it just we need to do it?
I'm not hearing about lawsuits. I know lawsuits exist, obviously, the school district. And it's funny, the general public must think lawsuits are different than we know them to be. Like, oh, the teacher sued, school's not going to open. I'm like, do you know how long a lawsuit takes? Like 3 years, 2 years? It doesn't mean anything. Everybody sues. They get dismissed half the time. Nothing ever becomes of them. So a lawsuit isn't that scary. The end result might be, and it's expensive to have one, but it's not interesting. It doesn't go anywhere fast. So I'm not hearing about lawsuits. I think people are concerned about health, which is a genuine concern. But this is a bigger issue to me. The economy is a bigger issue. People are going to die and be devastated and live in poverty forever. in a much more impactful or as impactful way.
All right, so one of the things that you have is a group of young women that live in a home that your charity helps provide for.
Yes.
What's the situation with them and funding for that project?
So we have the house, kept as well as we possibly can. The girls have to wear masks other than in their own bedrooms, and those girls work outside the home for the most part. Some of them work at Walmart, and they have to mask up as a result of it. But funding is a huge issue. Charities are being hurt. Our big donors are changing. The companies that used to give are changing. The local community is not giving as much because they're, they have less, but they're also worried, because I know people that have plenty that are benefiting substantially currently from the economy. They aren't giving it all because they're worried it might stop. I'm like, well, in the meantime, these poor homeless girls are going to have no home. So it's a huge issue. Like, we're very concerned about long-term funding and trying to figure out how to diversify and who is giving and who's not. And keep these girls housed and safe. And for a while, all the local shelters were closed. They weren't taking any people too. And there's no consensus in our government on how to reopen, shelters and how to do intakes safely. Children's cabinet was just closed. CPS literally, literally told my client, you have to take this teenager to the safe house because you don't have custody of her. Well, what's that? Children's cabinet? She drove, it's closed. I'm like, CPS doesn't know? They didn't know it was closed. They sent you there, so it's 10 at night, and she's calling me, what do I do with the kid? I'm like, just take her home. I mean, it's ridiculous. Then the authorities get called on my other client because there's a physical domestic situation, but my client literally had COVID. He worked in the ER, in the COVID unit, and he said, I'm positive, and they're like, well, we're not coming. So they just let this girl beat him up. You can't blame the police, but it's like, wait, what? But they were telling him what to do. You have to give her property. I'm like, they can't tell you what to do if they won't come. You can do whatever you want. It's bizarre. I mean, it's bizarre. Like, the local authorities don't know what's going on. They're sending people to places that are closed.
It was interesting. I've asked several people in government, in law enforcement, about civil unrest, and they all look at me like, we're not really preparing for this. I was asking Tick Segerbloom, who's on the Clark County Commission, are you concerned about civil unrest on election night?
I
no,
am.
Not really. Yeah,
I'm
me too.
concerned. I'm thinking, I wish we had elections every 8 years so we don't have to have all this drama and trauma around the election. It's just it ramps up a year ahead, it goes a year after. Like, it's 2 years of trauma. It's like having a baby. It's that bad.
Wow, I'd never thought of it like that. Let's contemplate that thought, and we'll be right back.
Things are heating up at the Carson Valley Inn. Win your share of $200,000 through September 26th. Cash and free play every weekend, plus 5 times points Fridays. The good times are at CVI.
Penny! Dad? Are you learning? This place is great. Huh? You gotta try this.
Wow! This stuff is great! People are gonna love it!
Yes. Yes, they will.
Ahern Rentals began as Signal Gas Station on Las Vegas Boulevard. Founder John Ahern grew the business by offering rentals. His son Don built on John's legacy, growing Ahern Rentals into the largest independently owned American rental company, with 89 locations in 30 states. Don also brought his experience and vision to equipment manufacturing with Extreme Manufacturing and Snorkel. Today, Ahern Rentals continues to bring its family values to a new generation. Learn more at ahern.com.
The signs and symptoms of cataracts can start out small with subtle changes in your vision. So don't wait. Be proactive and take your vision into your own hands. If you're experiencing the onset of cataracts or just have questions, contact your eye care professional or call Eye Care Associates of Nevada today. Dr. Hiss has years of experience specializing in the surgical correction of eye disorders and has completed over 84,000 vision correcting procedures. At Eye Care Associates of Nevada, we'll change the way you look at the world.
Things are heating up at the Carson Valley Inn. Win your share of $200,000 through September 26th. Cash and free play every weekend, plus 5 times points Fridays. The good times are at CVI.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Marilyn York. She's the men's rights attorney. We were talking in the break there about bars reopening and the inconsistencies of the messaging that's coming out from the governor's task force, from the governor himself, the governor's own actions. Your thoughts on that?
I don't understand why bars are being used as an example. I don't drink, but it makes no sense. I mean, do people get drunk and act less responsibly when they're drunk? Yeah, but they're getting drunk at home. In case anyone missed the memo, drinking's way up. So it's not doing anything. And you made your point. How long has it been? Those poor bars, 6 weeks, something like that. It was supposed to be 2 weeks, then 2 weeks, and then to announce that they're reopening and take it away is horrible. I mean, these people went out and hired all of their employees back and cleaned their bars and got everything sanitized and open and made announcements and hired bands and got people excited, and then they shut them down again. And it was supposed to be 2 weeks, and now it's been 2 more weeks, and he's going to assign a task force. Who? What task force is enforcing anywhere else, though, by the way? Walmart has more people in one day than all the bars in Northern Nevada at any time.
That's kind of been one of my points when I talk to people about comfort levels is I have not seen or heard of major outbreaks at Walmart, at Costco, at Home Depot, at Lowe's, the places where there are tons of people.
And they don't make them wait in line outside to go in.
Well, it depends. I mean, if it gets a little busy at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's,
the grocery stores will.
Yeah.
Not Walmart and not Home Depot.
Well, that's because they're so huge, because they're at 50% capacity, but then we have other places where the 50% capacity rule doesn't necessarily apply because now you're down to less than 50 people. I mean, and there are a lot of lawsuits going on. I wanted to ask you about your newspaper column. You started this, a couple of years ago now?
No, I don't know when I started. A year ago, maybe? It's not very old. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I was
time flies.
I know.
So what's the craziest letter you've gotten so far? Or
I
if
can't
you don't want to
publish them. They're too graphic. I don't think people realize that's what it is. They just think they're getting free legal advice, so they just send away. And then I'm like, I don't really think they wanted me to publish this. It's an interesting place because that was the purpose of it. So I try to be a little careful and change some of the facts just to protect people, because I'm like, this is something you should not talk about, So it's just a ton of coronavirus questions right now. I'm not even the best person to answer them sometimes. My most humorous are when they ask me stupid things like, I'm not attracted to my girlfriend, what should I do? I'm like, this is not a legal question. I want to see your photo. I want to see your photo. I want to see her photo. And I want to decide if you're just being a jerk. If you want to ask me, I need photos, So, but it's been cool. It's been really cool because interestingly enough, RGJ must publish nationally because I get questions from everywhere. They are not local.
Online,
I mean, that's who I get questions from, is out of state. And then I'm like, wait, where's this person from? I can't give legal advice in Virginia. That's very helpful. But the question's helpful, and everyone has the same issues. The corona is the question. That's all people want to talk about, is how the virus affects their kids going to school and custody and that sort of thing.
How different is that from their emails versus Facebook?
No one asks about that on Facebook. They ask real legal questions. For some reason, the column seems to draw out all the virus questions. In the real world, they aren't asking those mostly. They're just asking the normal. What's child support? Who's going to get the dog? Really important question. Who's going to get the dog?
So when you're in this kind of public situation, whether it be Facebook or now with the RGJ column, and eventually a TV show, this could end up leading to you being a judge.
Oh God, no. No, Sam, no. First of all, those robes are highly unflattering. And they itch, and they're hot, and they smell. No. I can't cuss on the bench. You're not supposed to. There are a few judges that forgot that rule. No. Although I would like custody, honestly. I would like to be a judge and do custody. I think custody is really important, and I really like it. It's something that I'm comfortable with. The financial end, I am really good at Excel. I can handle that too. I just don't find it as interesting. But I think there'd be some satisfaction in it. I can't handle politics, and that is a political position, sadly. It shouldn't be, but it is.
As we head into this election cycle, do you have concerns? Because it's so different already. The amount of direct mail, for example, is way, way down. Which is, in my opinion, a good thing. Because
I was like, wait, I don't check my mail. It reminds me I should do that once a month.
It's kind of stacking up there. Oh, that's where my bill is.
I have a huge box.
But you know, people are not able to go and knock on people's doors. Not that judges necessarily do that, but they can't have the fundraisers. So the amount of money being spent on broadcast is way down. Even the presidential campaign, the numbers are way down in Nevada, and we're still a battleground state. So it's interesting to see. Do you have concerns that people, in the best of times, don't know who the judges are and the justices are?
Yeah, for sure. And I was just, talking to one of the judges running yesterday, trying to figure out how to help her campaign. And the same thing, like, should we do a Zoom event? I'm like, do people go to those? I'm so tired of Zoom. First of all, I look hideous. Plastic surgery's up. I'm sure that's why, because we're all right here with a camera in our face, looking at our wrinkles and our eye bags. Like, that's an industry that's benefiting from Zoom. But the rest of us, I don't know. I am concerned. And yet, in this day and age, you think technology would make it easy. Like, live stream, do some, I said we could do a Zoom event where people can ask questions, but do people come to those? Apparently, the president's not going to do a debate now. What? Since when? Since when is the debate not part of the, process?
I have not heard that one yet.
That's what is being stated, that apparently the Democratic presidential, candidate doesn't want to debate Donald Trump because he lies. That's the story. I'm like, that's the best debate ever. Like, that'd be like us not going to court because someone might lie on the stand. Oh my God, that's our greatest day in court. If you're all good, that should make you happy. Go do it. That's the dumbest cop-out I've ever heard.
Okay, so this is the problem, one of the problems with social media, is that anybody can post anything, make it look really good.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely not true.
Yeah.
And suddenly it takes off like wildfire.
Yes, and this hopefully is not that, because the person that I was talking to is usually very politically savvy, but I don't know, because I intentionally just scroll past them, Sam.
Yeah, well.
It sounds dumb, but there's a lot going on that sounds dumb.
How many thousand people follow you on Facebook? Because you've got two different accounts.
Yeah.
About 10,000 people, something
maybe, yeah.
It's a lot of people.
I don't say anything political on there.
No, nothing political.
Just stupid stuff. I say stupid stuff, Sam.
You talk about your life. I wouldn't call it stupid, but just interesting. We'll be right back.
Dimitri Prine here for Design Outdoor. Are you a homeowner who's interested in remodeling or building a home? At Design Outdoor, we can show you how adding natural or manufactured masonry stone can add beauty and value to your home. And we refer only the best contractors. Our store and backyard are located at 11600 South Virginia, just north of DeMonte Ranch Parkway. Visit designoutdoor.com or call us at 851-9499.
Hey guys, are you watching the game at a friend's or the bar again because you can't watch at home with your wife? Or worse, because she kicked you out and kept your couch, your flat screen, and your kids? What's the one thing a man needs when he loses a good woman? A good lawyer. And when he loses a bad woman, he needs a great lawyer. What makes a good woman a bad woman? You tell me. You're the one that can't watch the game in your own home. I'm men's rights attorney Marilyn York, and I represent men in divorce, custody, and family law matters.
Hi, I'm Dave Newman. Remember me? I used to be the house detective, and now I'm a realtor, full-time at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates. A lot of people ask me, how's the market? You know what? It's fantastic. If you're even kicking around the idea of buying or selling, give me a call. Let's talk about it. Call me at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates and just ask for the guy who used to be the house detective, Dave Newman.
Everyone is talking about opioids, but they're not the only drugs that can be harmful if taken in large quantities or not as prescribed. You also need to be aware of side effects from anxiety drugs, muscle relaxants, sleep aids, and stimulants. Mixing prescription drugs with other drugs or alcohol can be dangerous. If you take an Ambien with a glass of wine, it may be enough to stop you from breathing. Prescribed drugs can be just as dangerous as illegal drugs. Take medications only as directed.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Marilyn York. She's the men's rights attorney, writes a column for the Reno Gazette-Journal. You can find it online or in the newspaper. Just briefly, update us on the long-time potential television show. Where are we?
Oh, there's so many. I actually have a friend from LA in town right now that's coming to my office today to work on doing yet another pilot. That we're going to pitch, but there's a bunch in the works. I was supposed to be the host of the new Cheater show. that's real, not scripted like the other one apparently. And that's just, everything's sitting in LA because of the virus. You know, everything's kind of closed. So it's kind of an excuse for an opportunity to do something new. So we're kind of looking into that. But otherwise, you know, I have that hosting job, and then another producer did a pilot that's supposed to be pitched, but it's just all kind of sitting there. I don't really know what that world will be for me, but I like it. I think it's funny. I think there's a show here that's easy to do.
I think either lunch or dinner with Marilyn is the show. Because we have been to so many lunches where everybody at the table except you was on the floor laughing, and it's hysterical.
Just the background commentary. I would have more hate mail than I already do, Sam, except the Ukrainian women and the Russians. They like me. Those are my people. I get love mail from them whenever the Tosh.0 airs. And hate mail from Australia every time. I'm like, why do the Australians hate me so much? But the Russians love me.
So you are worldwide at this point.
Just because of Daniel Tosh, just because of him. That's not my best work that should go viral. Luckily, my TEDx talk has gotten quite a bit of traction where I'm being serious. Like 3.3 million views already. Wow. I know. So that was a big win for Father's Rights, really. I mean, I'm thrilled there's an audience. I'm thrilled people are listening to it. I'm really excited that people care. I think that they're stuck home and they're like, I guess we'll listen to this windbag, but worked for me.
Hey, listen, our numbers are through the roof, so I'm not complaining either.
It helped. It's good for fathers.
Well, and it's good for people that do podcasts and shows and things like that.
Yeah, I've been going on a lot of those too. So welcome back to Zoom in my face. But
you're welcome here in person anytime.
Thank you.
You know that.
We're 6 feet apart, so we're fine.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And we'll be right back.
A bird's eye captures its surroundings at different heights. At Brian Culpa Photography, we can make your imagination soar over buildings, parks, cityscapes, and beyond. Brian's images tell the story and get the job done. If you need a new perspective to tell your story, contact Brian today. Brian Culpa Photography. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Hey, Dad? Are you learning? This place is great. Huh? You gotta try this.
Wow, this stuff is great. People are gonna love it.
Yes. Yes, they will.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Take a look at Pro Group Management and see how your workers' comp requirements can be met head-on. By taking a proactive approach, Pro Group can assure that your company is meeting or exceeding state and federal standards. As you move forward in your industry, Pro Group moves with you, simplifying regulatory tasks, clearing the way so you can get the job done and look to your future success. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
You can now watch Nevada Newsmakers on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and search for Nevada Newsmakers and become a subscriber. We'll see you on the next broadcast. Thanks for watching and listening.